Welcome to Programming with Qt Widgets. In today's episode, I will attack a monster, namely that your files vanishes from the hard disk. More specifically, those files that you put on the hard disk together with your binary so that your application would work just fine. For example, images for icons or translations or something completely different. The solution to the vanishing file is, of course, to not ship those auxiliary files like icons or translations or whatever you ship with your application. Instead, compile them into the binary, and then either they're there inside the binary or there's no binary to start with. I'll show you how easy it is to set this up from within Qt Creator, and I'll investigate the files that is created behind the back. But let's start out with an example of this, and I'll see if you, with the background you have now, can spot the error. I'm running the application we saw a few episodes back, namely the one with the corner button up here, but this time you can see the button is rather, well, underwhelming. It obviously still works, but there's the three bars indicating the burger menu is not there anymore. If I look in my binary, you can see I set the icon to be this burger menu.png, and I can even, inside of my Qt Creator here, open file, and we can see, well, there is my burger menu. So why did it not show up? If you tried this before, and I'm sure you have, then you'll know exactly what went wrong. If you haven't, well, follow me on my screen now. My project over here, the build is a Qt 651 DCC, and the build directory is blah, 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 build corner. So the binary that I'm actually executing is in this directory, not in the source directory, which was in HomeBlaggy, KDAP, Qt Widgets, and more, corner button. I can go over here and you can see the directory here on my screen. If I move the cursor, it will move away, but you can see home blah, 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 corner button. So I was looking in the source directory, not in the build directory. There's obviously many solutions to that. One of them is to do a lot of CMake magic and then go down here and search for it in the build directory. But a much better solution is to compile this icon into the binary. To compile it into the binary, I'll go up here to my corner button and choose Add New. There we are. And I'll choose Qt resource file. And I'll say, yes, please. I'll give it a name, resources.qrc. And next. Yes, please add it to this button. Yes, please add it to Git. That'll be very kind of you. And here we are. It did not add it to this one. That's a shortcoming of Qt's CMake integration. I'm sure it'll be better whenever a new version come out and you watch this, but it's relatively easy. Resources.qrc, that's what I call it, right? I save it and observe up here. It's already running CMake for me. And now it came around here, resource.qrc. All I need to do now is right click on it and choose Add Existing File, my burger menu.png. It offers me that it's the default, yeah, whatever. Yes to all. It just tells me that the resource.qrc file was changed on disk, which, well, I knew about that. It's now being built, and let me just run my build here so you can see it. See, it's running RCC for resources.qrc. I can make it bigger here. Automatically RCC for resource.qrc, and then it compiles this, blah, blah, blah. And qrc underscore resources.cpp.o. It's compiling that into my binary. One change is needed for this to work. I need to go over here, and instead of loading burger menu.png, I need to load /burger menu.png. And you can see that the name actually from here, and if I was slightly unsure about what was the right name, right click on it, and there is a copy path /burger menu.png. Go away. So I can paste exactly the same. Very convincing that I'm now pasting the same, isn't it? And now when I run the application, my burger menu is back. People with fancy suit fly their own jets. Unfortunately, my suit isn't that fancy, so I only fly an ultralight, but hey, that's fun too. But in KITApp, we helped Lufthansa develop the software for the next generation business jet. Follow the link for the details. So you can compile anything into your binary, basically. Images, small audio pieces, if you have that. Translations is another good one of compiling into your binary, so you don't have the translation file laying all around. Now, hopefully a question will start to boil in your head, namely, how do I go around if some of those resources are different depending on the language? And the stereotypical example is a cross, which in the Western world might mean Jesus died on the cross, and therefore that means death. In a non-Christian part of the world, they might not even recognize it, and they would need another symbol to indicate that. Or it might be, well, you name it. Let me show you how you can localize the resource handling inside of Qt Creator. But first, there's nothing magic about slash, and it might even be a bad idea if you have a large project to put them in slash, just like it's a bad idea to put all your files in your home directory. Doing that? So let's go over here and change that. I would love to be able to just double click or right click here and change prefix. There we are, /images. I must admit that I failed to realize I could do that. What I would have shown you that I could do instead was simply to click this one here and right click and say open open in editor, because we have this editor here, which is our resource editor. I could even go and say open with plain text editor, and this is the file that is on the hard disk for these resources. Of course, it's changed to /images now, so it will not load. I can show you no image of that. So I'll have again open with or open in editor. Go away. Resources. Open in editor, right click, just copy resource and go over here at the resources now, call /images, burger menu, and we have it here. Okay, so to add a translation, what I need to do is to add another image subdirectory, but this time for the language that I'm interested in. So again, add new. No. See, I don't do this all that often. I can right click here and then open in editor. That's the easier one. Add prefix. And this time the prefix is going to be images again. Images again. And the language will be Danish as they speak it in Denmark. And I can see we got it up here. I can add files. And I have a burger, Danish burger.png, which is just black because I'm not good with graphics and I'm blacky. So it's just black. So there we are. Black Danish burger. Obviously, for it to load this one, it needs to go and find the Danish burger.png rather than burger menu.png whenever it's looking for it. And that's where I need to set up an alias here. So I'll set up an alias to be burger minus menu.png. I better spell it correct, otherwise it will not load for me. I got that one now. I'm compiling, I'm running. You can see it's still this one here. But let me go and find my shell here and say language equal to Danish as they speak it in Denmark, and go. And Now I got something wrong. Danish has to spill it, speak it. DA_DK. Maybe it's case sensitive. There we are. Still no burger button. Sometimes I truly hate my life. What did go wrong here? Burger minus menu.png. Burger minus menu.png. Image. It needs to be images. Yes, that's easy, huh? I'll just go and cheat as I do every time I'm in these kind of problem. Images. There we are. Build it again. Go to my shell. Run it. Please. Yes, a black button here now. And if I run it without, just to prove that it actually do work now, I run it without. Here is the none. Have I told you about Gamma Ray? I must have in this series. Otherwise, go to KitWidgets and more, and well, I'll add a link to Gamma Ray. It's a tool for introspecting your application. It can do a lot of interesting stuff. And one of the things that it can do is that it can look at the resources compiled into your binary. So let's see what that looks like. So I'll start my application with binary here, like this, and it shows up. Here's my application, and on my secondary screen, here is Gamma Ray. And I already was in there just a few things ago. So resources is selected here. If I just click down here, close these, you can see images, burger menu. I can even see this is the gigantic version of my burger menu that you saw on that tool button. Let me close down, hit again. And this time add my language equal to DADK to it. Start it up again. Gamma Ray coming on the ROM screen, and lots of stuff here. Images, burger menu. And now you can see the black button there. That is the burger menu for the Danish language. So a very useful way of actually identifying whether you got the right resources loaded. And then maybe you're interested in some of all of these resources that comes with Qt itself that you might not. I'm not even sure if they guarantee you that they'll be around, but anyway, you can see that they're in there. Okay, now you've seen how you can compile all of those things into your binary, and you might ask yourself, what is the cost of this? Well, the binary will obviously be larger, but your operating system will not load those extra pages in unless it really needs to. So that on itself is not necessarily a bad thing, because it's not going to be larger on disk, because those files would have been on disk anyway, unless your users have deleted them. And it will just be as fast to load as those on the disk. So nothing bad to say about this. A bit of extra cleaning around in Qt Creator, but nothing beyond that. That was it for this episode of Programming with KitWidget. I hope you enjoyed it so far. This was even the end of this third module of the series. I will be taking a short break from recording and looking into a camera and talking to myself, and be back in a month's time with the next module, where we'll be talking about dialogues, main windows, and anything top level. Until then, I wish you a great time.